right, fire it up. Let's do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are. Have fun, take a deep breath.
Give them hell at the end. You like this?
Fight like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down, lock it down.
I'm destroyed, and I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. What the f*** is he thinking? That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate. Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Hell yeah. 11 got it.
Proud of you there, Mac. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day. Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys.
And welcome back to Racing in the Draft, race 26. The final race of the regular season is finally upon us at Daytona, of all places, where anything, and most likely anything, will and probably can happen. As we will get through the video and to the end, we will look at optimal lineups from the past, and you'll see just how crazy the optimal lineups are. Anybody is in play for this race. Anybody from the back, even Quinn Hoff is a possibility to do well in your DraftKings lineup. So as we go through this, anybody is possible. William Byron won this last race last year, and the year prior to that was Justin Haley. So this race is pretty much up for grabs. One spot left in the the playoff 16. Currently, Tyler Reddick owns the points on it, but only has a 25 or 21 point lead over Austin Dillon. So one mess up early by Tyler Reddick and a decent finish from Austin Dillon, and a repeat winner, and Austin Dillon can make it. Austin Dillon's really good at this track and could just end up winning it outright. So this race is going to be a lot of fun to watch tomorrow night. It's going to be probably a lot of carnage. So taking people from the back, not spending all of your $50,000 on DraftKings, as you'll see at the end when we go through it, is not necessarily always the best thing. Most of the time, you don't spend everything. In fact, there was one that you had 16,000 plus left on the table, was the optimal lineup. So, but let's take a quick glance at what happened at Michigan last weekend, with Ryan Blaney edging out William Byron and Kyle Larson for the win. And as we can see, the optimal lineup didn't even have Ryan Blaney in it. William Byron edged him out a little bit, having led 18 laps and 25 fast laps. Chase Elliott leading 68 laps and 11 fast laps. We had Kirk Bush that just was there all day, finishing 4th. Christopher Bell was a place differential. Matt DiBenedetto kind of swapped spots with Kirk Bush, but stayed in the top 10 all day. And Chase Briscoe moving up 10 spots for some decent place differential for Chase Briscoe. So 2 dominators, 3, for the most part, place differentials, with William Byron being one of those, Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe, and 1 value and 1 finisher with Kurt Busch. I guess probably 2 finishers with Kurt Busch and 90D swapping spots. But Kyle Larson still holding strong to that 1 race optimal lineup lead over Daniel Suarez. Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Martin Truex, and Ryan Blaney all still in the hunt. This will go through the entire rest of the year through championship weekend, and will crown a optimal lineup champion also. So the real reason you guys came, let's break down the track, Daytona International Speedway, and kind of dive into the Coke 400 driver breakdown. So, as we know, Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona International Speedway. It is a super speedway track. Track length is 2.5 miles and 31-degree bankings in the turns. Makes it really, really fast. Race length for this race is scheduled for 160 laps. Don't think there's really any impending weather possibilities for this weekend, but it is Florida, and you never know with Florida about rain. Dominator points are a total of 107. They don't mean a whole lot because fast laps make up 72 of that 107. The fast laps kind of get spread out amongst everybody because everybody's running in a tight pack, and most of the time a fast lap is decided by 1/1000th, 2/1000ths of a second when you're running in a pack like that. So, and if you've got a couple of cars that are in the back that are running in fairly clean air, 2 or 3 cars lined up together, not running in the big pack, will run down the larger group. So fast laps and Dominator points really do not play a huge pivotal role for this weekend or at any super speedway. Just take that into account, and that's why it's pretty much anybody's game to win. All right, let's break it down. This is the real reason you came. We've got some crazy pricing, but once again, pricing really probably is not going to matter. You probably can run almost any lineup that you really want for the most part. I mean, you can't take all of these top guys, but I really don't think the top guys are something you want to look at taking anyways. So Joey Logano starting 22nd, 14th on the power ranking, 10,600. The average finish is 19.0 with a 16.5 DraftKings average. Only has 1 top 5, 1 top 10, and 2 top 20s in the last 5 Daytona starts. 25 total starts at Daytona with only 1 win, 6 top 5s, 9 top 10s, and 14 top 20s. He did finish 27th at the Daytona Coke Zero 400 last year. So these finishing positions will all be the same race as it was last year. Next in line, Austin Dillon, 10,300, starting 27th, 6th on the power ranking. His average finish is 16.8 at Daytona in the last 5 starts, 26.5 DraftKings average, and 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 3 top 20s in the last 5. 25th last year in this race. 16 total starts here at Daytona. He does have 1 victory to his credit with 3 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and 12 top 20s. Next in line, we've got Brad Keselowski at 10,000, starting 10th, 20th on the power ranking, 22.2 average finish, 16.8 DraftKings average, only 1 top 10, 3 top 20s in the last 5 starts. He finished 2nd in this race last year, 24 total starts here at Daytona, with 1 win, 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 10 top 20s. Next in line, we've got Kevin Harvick coming in at 9,800, starting 11th. 19th on the power ranking, mostly because of his starting position, kind of like Brad, starting 20th, or starting 10th. But Kevin starting 11th, his average finish in the last 5 is 16.8 and a 17.3 DraftKings average, 2 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 3 top 20s. He finished 20th in this race last year. 40 times he has raced at Daytona, 2 wins to his credit, 11 top 5, 16 top 10s, and 25 top 20s. Next in line, Alex Bowman, 9,600, starting 15th. Power ranking 32nd. As you probably have watched in my previous videos, 32nd power ranking would typically get you put into the red and a caution Will Rogers stay away. But because it's Daytona, I don't discount anybody from any position on being and making the optimal lineup. If Alex Bowman can go from 15th to 1st, lead a few laps, and have some fast laps, he's going to make the optimal lineup. So I don't take him out, but his average finish over the last 5 starts is 20.4, 8.5 DraftKings average, 1 top 10, and 2 top 20s. His total starts at Daytona have been 10, and only 2 top 10s, 5 top 20s. 7th place last fall. Next in line, we've got Denny Hamlin, number 1 on the power ranking, 9,400, starting 3rd. Don't love his starting position, but Denny Hamlin has a way of getting up front, staying up front, and leading lots of laps. We know the Dominator points do not mean everything, but finishing in the top 3 and leading some laps and doing those types of things will put Denny Hamlin into the optimal lineup. But Denny has probably the best record, at least over the last current history. Actually, he has the best record of anybody that's in this race at Daytona. So starting 3rd, he does have a 7.2 average finish, 57.4 DraftKings average, 4 top 5, 4 top 10, 4 top 20s, and 2 wins in the last 5 starts. Out of his 31 total starts here at Daytona, he does have 3 wins to his record, 11 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and 19 top 20s. He finished 3rd here in the fall race last year. Next in line, Eric Amarola, 9,300, starting 19th, 29th on the power grid. 23.0 average finish in his last 5 starts with a whopping 4.1 DraftKings average, 1 top 10, 2 top 20s. He finished 18th here in last fall's race. He does have a win at Daytona out of his 19 total starts with 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 10 top 20s. Next in line, we've got Kyle Busch, 9,200, 16th on the power ranking, starting 4th. His average finish is 18.8, 25.9 DraftKings average with 1 top 5, 1 top 10, and 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts. He has started at Daytona 32 different times and has 1 win to his credit, 8 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 18 top 20s, and finished 33rd last fall. So you can see these finishing orders for some of these guys. It's just it's craziness. Pack Racing generates that type of weird finishing orders for these guys. Kyle Larson, 8,900, our current points leader going into the final race of the season. So there is a race inside of a race between Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin to see who can get the regular season championship and 15 playoff points, which will be really big for whoever can take that. Kyle Larson starting first. You know how much I love the pole position. Kyle Larson did do very well last weekend in the pole position. I don't think he made the optimal lineup, but he was still in some of the winning, where you could win money. Put people in the money. 23rd on the power ranking this week, because first is not a good spot to start at Daytona. Even if you do finish first, guys that are starting 30th that make their way up to 5th are going to beat Kyle Larson out, no matter how many laps he leads. 14.8 average finish, 34.5 DraftKings average, only 1 top 5, 1 top 10, and 3 top 20s out of his last 4 starts, because we know he didn't race in the fall race at Daytona last year because of his suspension. 14 total starts here at Daytona with 5, 1, that's not right, he definitely has 1 top 5, 5 top 10s, and 8 top 20s. Next in line, Kaz Grala, starting 38th. Well, you start that far back, you get to be second on the power grid. And he's got some pretty decent stats for the one race that he does have, which pushed him up into that spot. And he's also racing Colleague Motors Hyper Ice number 16, who that same owner won with AJ Allmendinger at Brickyard a couple weeks ago. So they're gonna bring a fast car. Kaz Grala is actually a pretty good super speedway racer. So as long as he can keep his nose clean, I think he's going to finish well up in the field. Even if he finishes 20th, that's 18 spots that he's going to move up that you're going to get points on. So I expect Kaz Grala to be, if not in the optimal lineup, very close to being in the optimal lineup. Finished 38th in this race last fall, but has a 28th place average finish and a 30.3 DraftKings average. That 38th place finish is not correct, but whichever. All right, next set of pricing here, Ryan Blaney, starting 6th, 8,800. 21st on the power ranking, 21st place average finish, 16.5 DraftKings average, and had 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 2 top 20s in his last 5 starts. He finished 6th here in the fall race last year. 12 total starts with 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, and 6 top 20s. Next in line, Martin Truex Jr. This is one of the tracks that has been his Achilles heel. He, out of all the places that he has never won, this is one of the few that he has never won at. In fact, I think Talladega might be the other. So super speedways have not been kind to Martin Truex Jr. Maybe he can break that curse this weekend, but stats show otherwise. So 31st on the power ranking, starting 7th, 21.4 average finish, 13.3 DraftKings average, with only 1 top 5, 10, and 20 to his credit over the last 5 races. He finished 4th last fall. 32 total times he has taken the green flag at Daytona, with 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 16 top 20s. Chase Elliott next in line here, 8,500, starting 5th, 8th on the power ranking. In the last 5 starts, he has 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and 4 top 20s, 35.4 DraftKings average, and a 14.2 average finish. He finished 2nd in this race last fall, right behind William Byron, and has 11 total starts at Daytona with no wins, but 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and 5 top 20s. Next in line, Christopher Bell, 8,300, starting 14th, 10th on the power ranking, has 3 total starts in the Cup car at Daytona with a 16.7 average finish. He'll be starting 14th on the field this weekend, 30.9 DraftKings average, and 2 top 20s. As we said before, he has 3 starts in the Cup car here, and last fall he finished 13th and only has 2 top 20s on his record. Next in line here, Ross Chastain, 8,200, starting 29th, 7th on the power ranking, mostly because of where he is starting. 17.6 average finish, 42.0 DraftKings average, 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts. He finished 16th here in the fall race and has raced at Daytona 6 total times with 2 top 10s, 3 top 20s. Alright, next set of grouping here. Last year's Coke 0400 winner William Byron coming in at 8,000, starting 2nd for this weekend's race, 22nd on the power grid, an 18.0 average finish, 16.9 DraftKings average, does have that 1 win last year, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and 2 top 20s in his last 5 starts. 7 total starts at Daytona with the 1 win and 2 top 5, 2 top 10, 2 top 20s. Next in line, Daniel Suarez, 7,800, 26th starting spot on the grid for Saturday's race. Remember, it's Saturday night, not Sunday. 38th on the power ranking because he has a dismal negative 3.5 DraftKings average, 33.8 average finish. Finished 26th in the fall race last year. 8 total times he has raced at Daytona with only 1 top 20 to his record. Daniel just always has bad luck at this race. Now, I mean, one of these times, that bad luck is going to end. So, once again, that's why he's highlighted in yellow. Anything and everything probably will happen this weekend. Next in line, Ryan Preece, 7,700, starting 24th and 13th on the power ranking. And the last 5 starts at Daytona, 22.4 average finish, a 23.4 DraftKings average, 2 top 10s and 2 top 20s to his credit. He did finish 37th last fall in this race, and the same stats because he's only raced here 5 times. Next in line, Kirk Bush, somebody who's raced here a lot more than 5 times. 7,600, starting 8th on the field, 18th on the power ranking, a 24.8 average finish in his last 5 starts, along with a 9.7 DraftKings average, 1 top 10, 1 top 20. Finished 34th in the fall race here last year. Like I said, 40 total starts with 1 win to his credit, 13 top 5s, 18 top 20s, or top 10s, and 23 top 20s. So, half the time he finished in the top 20. It's not bad. Corey Lejoy next in line here, 7,400. He should be back from COVID protocol. Starting 33rd on the field, 4th on the power ranking, mostly because of his starting position, and he actually runs fairly well at Daytona. With a 12.4 average finish, 47.7 DraftKings average, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s, finished 21st in the fall race here last year, and 9 total starts at Daytona with 3 top 10s and 5 top 20s. Next grouping here starts off with Tyler Reddick, 7,300, trying to hold on to that last playoff spot. Starting 17th, he has an average finish of 27.8 and a 15.5 DraftKings average. He does only have 4 starts while we're looking at these stats. Finished 29th in the fall race last year, and once again, no top 5, 10s, or 20s. Next in line, Landon Castle, 7,100, a name we really haven't seen this year. Starting 39th in the number 96, who typically Ty Dillon usually runs. And Landon has not raced here in the last 5 Cup starts, but does have a total of 15 Cup starts at Daytona, where he has an average finish of 23.4 with 5 top 20s. Starting 39th, I think Landon Castle deserves a definite nod. He's also going to be very patient and try to wait for some of the carnage to potentially happen, which I think he moves up very nicely. Landon Castle is somebody that I will have a decent amount on this weekend. Next in line, Ryan Newman, who always seems to run fairly well at Daytona. Sometimes doesn't always have the finish, as we saw in the 2020 Daytona 500, where he got just lambasted. Lucky to survive that wreck and come out with very little injury, even though he did have some. Glad he walked away and glad he's still with us. But in his last 5 starts here, he has 3 top 20s, 18.0 DraftKings average, 23.2 average finish, finished 19th here in the fall race last year, 39 total starts to his credit. He does have 1 win, 6 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and 21 top 20s. Next in line, Cole Custer, 6,800, starting 25th, 33rd on the power ranking, has a total of 3 starts here at Daytona. So with those 3 starts, he has 1 top 20, a 9.9 DraftKings average, and a 26th place average finish, and finished 11th here last fall. Matt DiBenedetto, 6,700. I tell you that he has really come on strong here in the last 5 to 8 races, and finishing races really well, taking care of his equipment, and just trying to do everything he can to potentially solidify himself as a Cup driver for next year if he can find himself a ride. But starting 9th at Daytona this weekend, he does have a 20.0 average finish, 24.6 DraftKings average, 0 top 5s, 1 top 10, and 3 top 20s. He finished 12th in the fall race here last year. Raced here a total of 12 times with no top 5s, but 3 top 10s and 6 top 20s. Next in line, Bubba Wallace, 6,500, starting 20th on the field, 9th on the power ranking. Does have 1 top 10, 1 top 20, a 21.4 DraftKings average, and a 21.6 average finish. Bubba Wallace is also one of those, always seems to run fairly well, but doesn't ever seem to finish real well at Daytona. So one of these times he's going to break through and get that elusive top 10, top 5 that he's been looking for this year. Maybe even a win. Maybe that's who takes up that last playoff spot. He did finish 21st here in the fall race at Daytona last year. 7 total starts with no top 5s, 1 top 10, and 3 top 20s. Next in line here also, Eric Jones in the other Columbia sponsored car. Funny, we have a Columbia Chevy and a Columbia Toyota racing. Interesting. And they both swapped teams. So even more interesting that they both have the same sponsor. Just thought it was kind of interesting. And pricing right next to each other. Either way. Starting 21st, 14th on the power grid, 20th place average finish, 17.0 DraftKings average, and 3 top 20s. Finished 27th here in the fall race last year. does have 1 top 5, 1 top 10, and 6 top 20s in his 8 total starts at Daytona. All right, next in line, we have a first-time start at Daytona for David Starr, 6,200, starting 40th. Makes me nervous not having any starts here at all. Power ranking of 36, which can't go anywhere but up. Real risky play by playing David Starr this weekend. I think he finishes maybe a couple of laps down. If he's lucky to even finish, and not because he gets into a big wreck. I don't know how good the quality of the ride he is in. But once again, anybody can make the optimal lineup depending on what kind of mayhem breaks out. So you could potentially take David Starr. I think they're potentially better people to take, but starting 40th, it's always a gamble, but you do what you want with David Starr. But he has never started in a Cup car here, and let me take a quick glance to see if he has anything Xfinity wise. All right, so David Starr has 16 total starts in the Xfinity Series at Daytona, with 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and an average finish of 23.4. So potentially could do something. He understands how to race on a super speedway, but you take your chances with Mr. Starr this weekend. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6,000, starting 12th, 24th on the power ranking. He's super aggressive on super speedways. He has won here at Daytona once before in the 18 total times he has started here. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 11 top 20s. 21.4 average finish in his last 5 starts, and an 18.6 DraftKings average. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Is either going to wreck it or finish top 5. There's no real in between with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So you've been warned, but also potentially somebody to put in your lineup. But next in line here, Anthony Alfredo, 5,800, 32nd starting place on Saturday. Does have only 1 start here in the Cup car, and that was the Daytona 500, where he finished 32nd, 30th on the power ranking, and like I said, only that 1 start for Anthony Alfredo. Next in line here, we've got Michael Mcdowell, 5,700, starting 18th on the field, and your Daytona 500 winner from earlier this year at Daytona. 4th on the power ranking. He consistently runs very well on super speedways, mostly even better at Daytona. Seems to be his cup of tea, and he really likes this track. Hence, part of the reason why he finished so well last race here earlier this year at Daytona, and finished 14th in last fall's race. It's not a fluke that he won the Daytona 500. He always seems to run well at Daytona, with a 9.4 average finish. That's second best next to Denny Hamlin. As we'll see, Justin Haley has a better average finish, but he's only raced here twice. So with 20 total starts here, he's got 12 top 20s, 7 top 10s, 3 top 5s, and does have the Daytona 500 win to his record, and a 53.8 DraftKings average in his last 5 starts. So starting 18th, as long as Michael can keep his stuff clean, he's going to probably finish at least in the top 10, if not top 5. Next in line, Justin Haley, as we were just talking about, who has the best average finish of anybody, but he's only raced here twice, and he won one of those in a rain or weather shortened event in 2019. 65.9 DraftKings average, 7th place average finish, with 1 win, 1 top 5, 1 top 10, 1 top 20. So, starting 28th, I don't mind Justin Haley. He understands how to drive super speedways, so potentially somebody to take a look at and potentially have some people in. He is 30th on the power ranking, just to keep that in mind. Chase Briscoe, 5,300, why Chase Briscoe and our next person, Chris Buescher, are so inexpensive this week, other than starting 16th, potentially maybe finishing about close to the same spot depending on what type of calamity happens. But we do have a 10th on the power ranking, 19th place average finish, 38.2 DraftKings average for his one start at Daytona in the Cup car. So maybe that's why he's priced so low. But why Chris Buescher is priced at 5,200 is a head scratcher for me, other than him, they may not love his starting spot, because I don't really love his starting spot. But he did finish 9th here in the fall race last year and has 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, and 3 top 20s to his credit in the last 5 starts. 23.5 DraftKings average and a 19.4 average finish. 11 total starts with 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 6 top 20s. Not bad for 5,200. Joey Gase next in line here at $5,000, starting 37th, 27th on the power ranking, 25.3 DraftKings or average finish, and a 27.0 DraftKings average. Has raced here 6 total times with 1 top 20 and a 31st place finish last fall. All right, down to our last batch of people here. Josh Bilicki, 4,900, starting 36, 35th in the power ranking. Has raced here twice in the Cup car, 31st place average finish, 17.5 DraftKings average, and finished 38th in this fall race last year. Next in line here, Garrett Smith, 4,800, starting 34th, and this will be Garrett's first official start at the Daytona International Speedway in a Cup car. So no real stats. 39th on the power ranking, starting 34th. Next in line, Cody Ware, 4,700, starting 31st. 2 total starts at Daytona with a 17.5 DraftKings average, a 30th place average finish. Any of these guys are starting in the 30s have the potential to be up there depending on who gets wrecked out of this race. Quinn Hoff, 4,600, starting 35th. 4 total starts at Daytona with a 32.0 average finish, 11.1 DraftKings average, and finished 23rd in this race last year. Last person on the grid here, coming in at 4,500, is BJ Mcleod, starting 30th. Has raced here 4 times with 1 top 20, a 25.5 DraftKings average, and a 27th place average finish. And even BJ could show up and put us in the optimal lineup this weekend. So, like I said, none of these guys are what I would say I'm not touching, I'm not taking, other than maybe potentially David Starr, but even that, he's starting 40th, so he has no place to go but up. But optimal lineups from previous Daytona races. So let's look at the Daytona 500 earlier this year, which was a 200 lap event. There was 1 dominator. All 6 people in the optimal lineup were place differential guys, with 4 of those being value, with Ross Chastain being the most expensive at 7,800 and Austin Cindric the least expensive at 6,100. You can see the average starting spot of 25.7, and we still had $2,400 left over after that lineup. Next in line would be this race last year in 2020, which is a 160 lap race, 2 dominators, all 6 guys were place differential candidates with 3 value, and we had $1,000 still left over. Still didn't need to spend the entire $50,000. 22.7 average starting position. The least PD upside guy was William Byron, who won the race, going from 6th to 1st, and led only 24 of the 160 laps. And as you can see, the fast laps are spread out on both of these: 5, 7, 7, 8, 3, 6. I mean, you know, it's just they're spread out. So those dominator points, as I said before, are not everything. So we look at the Daytona 500 from 2020. We had 200 laps, 1 dominator, all 6 place differential upside guys. 3 of those were value picks with $3,800 left. Look at that starting position average of 30.3. Denny Hamlin, who won the race, started in 21st, burning gone from 39 to 7. And the spread between the second highest point getter of Brennan Gaughan at 70.8 and Denny Hamlin at 88.3 is pretty substantial. That's where the extra 18 points comes in for a Dominator. So 18 out of, what did we say it was earlier? 70, I can't remember, 107 Dominator points. But either way, Dominators will not play a huge factor. It always helps to have, if there is one, to have him in your lineup. And Denny Hamlin may easily be one of those guys. The spring, no, this was actually the fall Daytona race, not the spring. So the fall Daytona Cup race was only 127, was shortened, and Justin Haley was the one who won that. As you can see, absolutely no Dominators in this race whatsoever. Only one of these guys led a lap, which was Justin Haley, which was the final lap of the race. All 6 were PD upsides. All 6 were value, with the most expensive coming in at $6,400 and Matt DiBenedetto. We had almost $17,000 left over to spend for that race. I'm telling you guys, and look at the starting was 30th. So we have, in the last 4 Daytonas, a 30th place average start, a 30.3 average start, a 25.7 average start, and a 22.7 average start. It's all about place differentials and just being lucky enough to pick which ones are actually going to come to the front and not have their cars torn to shreds by the end of the race. It is a huge lottery, but I'm telling you, you can almost probably just take the 40th place starter all the way down to the 35th place starter, run it, and you may end up in the lineup. I'm sure there will be people out there that will actually run that lineup. I may even do it just for giggles, just to see what happens and let you guys know how if that even worked out. But our Dominators, if there are going to be one, Denny Hamlin is at the top of that chart. He's starting 3rd. I expect him to get to the front and probably stay up front, lead laps, if he doesn't end up in the big one. Kyle Busch starting 4th would be another one, and William Byron being another. So I don't take a lot of credit into the top left here in Dominators. I look a lot more at this place differential. Joey Logano starting 22nd, Kaz Grala starting 38th, Corey Lejoy starting 33rd, Ross Chastain starting 29th, Landon Castle 39th, Austin Dillon 27th. These are guys that have run well in the past at Daytona. That doesn't mean they don't get caught up in the big one, but if any of these guys can survive, they are going to move up in place finishes, which gives us place differential. Our fill-in / value guys, I'm telling you, we're not going to have any problem you putting in almost whoever you want for this race and staying under the 50,000, because you're not going to take all the high price guys. You're going to take 1, maybe 2 at the most, and then you're going to fill in with these much more inexpensive drivers. Bubba Wallace is one, starting in 20th with only 6,500. Chase Briscoe at 5,300. Chris Buescher at 5,200. I mean, all these guys have very good cars, have very strong, good equipment. I mean, they're not quite Hendrick strong, but in this race, it's all about just finish the race. Don't get caught up on the big one. So, Daytona, it's one of my favorite races. I really enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I gave you some insightful information on how to finish in the money this weekend at Daytona. You can't count yourself out until the absolute last lap and they go through the start-finish line. Because at the Daytona 500, they wrecked going in 3 and 4, or turned 1 and 2, and as we saw, Michael Mcdowell finally got his first Cup win. So this is anybody's race. I really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and if you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button. I'm doing fairly well with interactions over there. I really enjoy everybody checking out my videos. Share them with anybody that you think might find this information useful or helpful. And we'll see you next week for the first round of the playoffs. And good luck this weekend. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W's, so got to be around the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun. Don't get me any more fired up than I already am. All the way to the checkered. You are fine. Nobody's got to run. Check a pack, baby!
Hell yeah.
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work. Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Great job, guys. Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal, we got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away.
Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job.
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.